take a moment to say the Pledge of Allegiance with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sign up to join Mrs. Lewis and Miss Hill as they host the first Reads Out Loud book club for families. Those who sign up will pick up a hardcover copy of the book, bookmark, highlighters, and post-it notes to chart their reading. We start on April 15th, where we will introduce the book, author, and purpose, then meet again on May 19th to share our thoughts and takeaways from the novel. Share our love of story, but don't take our word for it. Hear from Jason Reynolds himself.
The idea for it.
So I'm interested in how do we talk about young people's autonomy? Usually when it comes to young folks literature for children, we figure out ways to remove parents in some strange way, right? It's always like deus ex machina, some weird thing that happens. It's like, and now the parents happen to be on vacation without their 12-year-old child, or now the parents have been killed off for some strange reason in some, dystopian world, or Lord of the Flies, the children are stranded on an island with no adults. And I think all of that is sort of a cheat code. And so for me, I wanted to find the real space in which young people are actually not being supervised, which in everyday life for the everyday kids in Brooklyn, kids in DC, kids in Harlem, kids in Houston, right? There's usually this 15-minute block on the walk home where they're alone and they're able to explore and experience the good, the bad, the ugly, and the interesting.
And so you split it up into 10 different parts. How did you decide what stories you wanted to tell, what themes that you wanted to tackle?
I mean, ultimately, I think I always am trying to show young people as themselves. I didn't want, there's this thing where people are like, your stories feel very normal. But that's because I think that there's so much magic in the mundane. Right? And I think sometimes we're looking for these massive plot points. An explosion happens, and it's like, no, if you pay attention to everyday life, there's a lot there that's funny, there's a lot there that's painful, just in the everyday goings-on of who we are on a daily basis. This is why comedians are such important figures in our lives, right? Because they can take sort of very small things and turn them on their heads, and you're like, I never thought about it that way, but it happens to me every single day. And so I knew that I wanted to write about things that I feel are actually affecting their lives. Small things like fear. Right? How frightening is it for an introverted kid to walk home from school? Right? What if they've never had that adventure or even had the responsibility of going 10 blocks down the street? That first time can be a bit frightening. Or what's it like to have friends? When I was a kid, I had me and my buddies, we walked, and that was our bonding moment. Like that's when we had time to sort of build this clubhouse friendship that we still have 30 years later, right? That's when we got into trouble. That's when we sort of expressed our fears and our concerns about who we were in the world, and we had each other to insulate one another, to build safety networks for each other as we got older, right? But all that happens in that pocket of time when there's no adult there to say, no, you can't say that, or you can't do that. It's like, well, I'm gonna say it and do it. And if it's wrong, my friends would be here to help me clean up this mess before my mama get home, right? And that's kind of how I approached it.
Yep.
Our DCMS March Book Madness Championship has come down to a battle between Wonder by R.J. Palacio and Say Cheese Medusa by Kate McMullen. Who will become our March Book Madness champion? Only you can decide by voting from the Eagle Readers Group or asking your relay teacher for the link. The winning book will be announced by the end of the day on Friday.
Hello students, here is an update about spring sports that are starting soon. We will be conducting spring sports in person. You have to make sure that you have good grades, at least a 1.0 GPA. You have to complete a sports physical from a doctor or healthcare provider. And you have to have your parent complete a parent permit. All of this information can be found on the Athletic Schoology group. You can also pick up paper copies at school, located right outside of the gym doors. If you have any questions, please send Miss Nugent a message. Thank you.
Spring is here, and so are all of our hybrid Deep Creek Eagle students. Welcome back to everyone in grades 6, 7, and 8 who have come back to our building. What a perfect time to return, as next Friday marks the end of the third quarter. Use this time to make up any work necessary to guarantee your success for the third quarter and to make your fourth quarter even better than all the others. The hint to this riddle was the picture of SpongeBob. The house that one enters blind and comes out seeing is a schoolhouse. Congratulations to the following students who got the riddle correct: Jose Manuel, Jordan Barker, Felipe Pardo, Akaya Green, Gloria B., Patience Malam, Alana M., and Jermaine Frisbee. Your Eagle Bucks have been added to your Eagle Buck Bank.
It is time for I Am Smarticus. When you find out the answer to the question that follows, message Ms. Hill, and if your answer is correct, your name will be added to the wall of Smarticuses.
Hank Aaron, the famous baseball player, may have hit his 715th career home run today in 1974. But this favorite dish of mine has its own national day, today. In fact, this dish is so easy to make, even my dad makes them for dinner. You take cheese, tomato, spices, jalapenos, and beef, all wrapped in pie crust and cooked to a golden brown. Yummy! They are the perfect hold in your hand and not get too messy snack. Do you know what this delicious dish is that now has its own national day?
Think, think, think. Think, think, think. Think, think, think. I've got to think, 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 think.
To celebrate April as School Library Month, we're going to introduce you to some of the great books currently waiting for you in our Deep Creek Eagle's Nest, and that were recommended by our own DCMS teachers. So sit back, relax, watch the book trailer, and check this book out from our Destiny catalog or the Baltimore County Public Library.
It's a story of sisterhood. It's like being thrown into a place where you don't know the rules at all, and yet they determine everything in front of you. So it's like the first day of middle school where you have to choose where you're going to sit in the cafeteria. And this is like your seat until the end of time. And there's demon hairdressers and pigeon sidekicks and characters from the Mahabharata and the Ramayana, which are both two ancient Sanskrit epics that meant so much to me when I was little and still mean a lot to me now.
I am in awe of anybody who can tackle Hindu mythology. You have done such an amazing job.
Thank you.
You know, not only like remembering everything and presenting it to the readers in a way that's like really fresh and relevant and funny. What was that like for you?
I've grown up with these stories my whole life. My grandmother would always tell them to me and my siblings, and they were so formative for me. I grew up in a mixed race home. So my mother is Filipino, my dad is Indian. And so the way that we bridged those cultural gaps at home was through fairy tales and stories. And like the more things that you read, the more stories, fables, etc., the more you see that they are all the same across every cultural spectrum.
So one thing I loved about Arit Shah, the first book, was the characters. What I loved about it was the girl power. I mean,
Yeah.
It's so awesome. So where did that come from, and how did you form those characters?
Honestly, the girl power thing came from two big important things in my life, and the first one was Sailor Moon. Their friendship was the heart of everything. Yeah. It overcame all the obstacles. It was more important than their love interest, and I loved that. And I forget the boy. You, my best friend, are everything. And I was really lucky to have those kind of friendships growing up. I grew up next door to my best friend since the middle of kindergarten, and she and all my other friends were always getting me out of trouble. They were also the ones to put me in trouble in the first place. But our antics and shenanigans that we had together were really what inspired Aru and her sister's adventures. I wanted readers to feel like they got to have this adventure too.
Oh, that's awesome.
This is the first time that I really almost put myself into a book. I was always kind of scared before. So, Minnie has like my Filipino Indian heritage. She has the whole spiel of, am I one thing more than another? Am I allowed to be both? And Aru is just like me in the sense that we were both liars in middle school and just like, slightly horrible people, but had the best adventures. And sometimes a lie or a story would get out of control.
Hi, and welcome to Headspace. So no matter what's going on in your life right now, no matter how many thoughts are racing around your mind, no matter how the body's feeling, just take a moment to sit down and take a big deep breath, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. As you breathe in, a sense of taking in fresh air, the lungs expanding. As you breathe out, a sense of letting go of any stress in the body, in the mind, just feeling the muscles soften and relax. And close your eyes if you'd like to. One more, breathing deeply in through the nose and out through the mouth. And just take a moment to pause, allow the thoughts to come and go, and then just gently opening the eyes again.